Now, first we will understand the neuroanatomy, okay, neuroanatomy of this disease, okay, and then we will discuss about the pathophysiology. So, normal neuroanatomy of the motor function. First, we have to discuss. Then we will understand that what is actually the underlying pathophysiology. Now, I have one question, that which area of our brain is concerned with planning of movement, because we understood till now that this Parkinson disease is actually a motor disorder, okay. So the question is that which area of our brain is concerned with planning of movement. First of all, that there is a proper areas divided in the brain, specified in the brain, okay, which is concerned with planning a movement, initiating a movement, okay, as well as also storing a movement. So what are those parts? First of all, you have the basic idea that here in the midbrain region there is a one, you can say, cell body which is present, and that is called as the substantia nigra. Okay, what it is? It is called as the substantia nigra. Okay, then we have the motor cortex area. This area, this is called as the motor cortex, and this motor cortex is divided into the several parts. Okay, first part is called as the prefrontal area. Okay, this is called as the prefrontal area. Then we have the supplementary area. Okay, supplementary motor area. Then we have the motor area, okay, primary motor area. So these are the areas where the movement is actually planning, okay, initiating. Got it? Now, there is also presence of, you know, that there are two bilateral thalamus is present, okay, bilateral thalamus is present, and thalamus is actually all the information, whatever information comes from the body organ, okay. Suppose this is one muscle, okay, one muscle, this comes via the neuron, okay, and it goes to the higher system. So first it goes through the, first it goes through the thalamus. Got it? Now, so actually thalamus is called as the information relay center. Okay, here first all the information goes, body function goes, or all those, you can say, the upcoming information, okay, all first goes to the thalami. Got it? Now, here is the presence of something called as the basal ganglia. Okay, basal ganglia. This basal ganglia have every time all the information about the movement. Okay, see, we know how to write, okay, we know when we have to take our right leg, when we have to take our left hand, okay, how to wave a hand, okay, these things are stored, but initially when we are in a child state, these things we don't know. Okay, we don't know how to catch a ball, we don't know, but over a practice, okay, this information is stored in the basal ganglia. So basal ganglia is basically a motor programmed organ. All the motor information is present in this organ called as the basal ganglia. Basically it is a part which consists of different other structure called as the caudate nucleus. Okay, so in the caudate nucleus, which is basically a part of this basal ganglia, where all the motor programs are stored, means how to do is stored here. Okay, but these areas, okay, they decide the movement. So first, what actually happened here, as you see this area, okay, this is called as the prefrontal area. Here the initiation of movement is started. So from here there is a one hormone is secreted, and that hormone is called as the acetylcholine. Okay, that is called as the acetylcholine. In short, it is written as the ACH. This ACH is from the prefrontal area, okay, supplementary area, These all secrete the acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is actually a stimulatory hormone. It is a stimulatory hormone. Now, these stimulatory hormone, okay, it gives signal to the basal ganglia. Basal ganglia in turn send the signal to the thalamus, okay, and thalamus send the signals to the motor cortex area, and motor cortex area will generate the action potential message via this you can say the neuron, and it goes to the lower motor neuron, thereby muscle start, you can say, extension and flexion. So this is how the movement is occurring. Meanwhile, we discussed about this organ, substantia nigra. This substantia nigra have one, you can say, neuronal function that is called as the dopamine secretion. So basically, the substantia nigra possesses the dopaminergic neuron. Dopaminergic neuron. Okay, and this pathway via which this substantia nigra interact with the basal ganglia, this pathway is called as the nigrostriatal pathway. This pathway is called as the nigrostriatal pathway. Now, what is happening? Due to the some pathology, like talking about the etiology of Parkinson disease, etiology, then there are several etiology which is depicted. Fine, take an example, something called as, you can say, the cigarette smoking, okay, or caffeine consumption in the form of coffee. Then there's a harmful chemical neurotoxins like the herbicides, pesticides. Okay, apart from that, these herbicides, pesticides, caffeine, cigarette smoking, okay, there are other, you can say, causes as well, called some are from the genetic background also. Genetic, okay, so these are the etiology. So by the any environmental interaction, these neurons called as the substantia nigra dopaminergic neuron, it start degeneration. It start degenerating. Okay. This dopaminergic neuron basically secrete a dopamine which inhibit the acetylcholine. Dopaminergic neuron are basically the inhibitory neurons. It secretes the dopamine which basically inhibit the function of acetylcholine. Okay, which inhibit the function of acetylcholine. But here, the substantia nigra, it start degenerating. So person have difficulty in initiating a movement. Okay, if person have to show this chalk, it takes a lot of willpower to its hold first of all, and then to show. Okay, so this is basically a problem in initiating a movement, just because this dopaminergic neuron, it's degenerated. Okay, it's degenerated. So if we're talking about the symptoms, what symptoms patient have, then patient have the two kind of symptoms. Okay, if we're talking about the symptoms of this, you can say, Parkinson disease, then there is the two symptoms. The one is called as the motor symptoms. Another one is called as the non-motor system. Non-motor symptoms. Okay. Now, motor system, what actually happening here? First, pay the attention. Here, in the normal way, the acetylcholine is secreted, okay, and excess acetylcholine is inhibited by this dopaminergic neuron. So person have the normal extension and flexion of the muscles. Okay, person knows that when they have to, you can say, move, okay, which step they have to take, everything is fine, no problem. But here, when this substantia nigra dopaminergic neurons, you can say, degraded, it start degenerating, then it don't have the, you can say, inhibition of acetylcholine. So person start, you can say, tremors. If you call the Parkinson patient and call them to hold the hand, they start, you can say, the tremor. They start the tremors. Okay. So one of the motor symptom is the tremor. Okay. Tremor. Then person have very difficulty to initiate a movement. Okay. They have also the writing problem. They also have the writing problem initiating a movement, because they are unable to move just because there is a depletion of this inhibitory hormones called as the dopaminergic hormones. There is a depletion of this dopamine hormones. So person have tremors, person have bradykinesis. Okay, person have the bradykinesis, difficulty in initiating a movement, bradykinesis. Okay. Apart from it, person have the moon-like face. Okay. If you tell them that you won 100 million rupees, they won't show you any expression. They won't show you any expression just because they are struggling so hard to smile. They are struggling hard to smile. Fine. So this is called as the moon face. Okay. Moon face. Then you know that normally what is happening, the dopamine level, okay, the dopamine level and acetylcholine, acetylcholine, both are when in the equilibrium state. Okay, then there is a normal motor function. But here what is happening, here pathologically the dopamine secretion is, you can say, decreased, whereas the acetylcholine function is increased. So when the acetylcholine is increased, person have the rigidity, means all the body, all the muscle are flexed. They are unable to move. Okay, unable to move. That is called as the rigidity. So rigidity is also one motor symptom. Rigidity. Due to the acetylcholine, you know that acetylcholine is a neuroexcitatory hormones. Okay, it's a reward hormone. Fine. So person have some cognitive abnormality. Okay, person will have the cognitive abnormality. Cognitive abnormality in the later stage. Okay, person are unable to maintain the posture even. Okay, so there is a posture disturbance. Okay, posture disturbance. Person fall easily. Person fall easily. Okay. This is called as the posture abnormality. Then person have the constipation. Constipation. These are called as the non-motor symptom. Once again, what we studied, if we're talking about the normal neuroanatomy for the motor function, then there are different brain parts which is basically working in a very synchronized fashion. Okay, they are interacting and coordinating well so that we perform the normal function. So for motor movement, the plan is initiating in the prefrontal area, okay, which is basically helped by the another brain area called as the supplementary area or primary motor cortex. Apart from that, we have first the basal ganglia, where all the motor functions, motor programs are stored. Got it? Then these motor programmed, okay, it is, you can say, stimulated by the secretion of these brain areas called as the prefrontal areas, where the motor planning is initiated in the form of acetylcholine. Normally the acetylcholine will work on the basal ganglia. Okay, basal ganglia, and basal ganglia have all the information about the movement, okay, how to do, and this information goes to the thalamus. Thalamus will in turn stimulate, you can say, the motor area, and by which the electrical impulse is generated and goes via the upper motor neuron to the lower motor neuron to the muscles, and thereby muscle will extend or flex. Fine. Meanwhile, we always not need, you can say, the excitation, we also need the inhibition. So for inhibition purpose, there is a substantia nigra which has a dopaminergic neurons, pars compacta, that's the one specific part of substantia nigra, okay, which have the dopaminergic neuron, okay, and dopamine is basically an inhibitory hormone, so it inhibits the function of acetylcholine. So normally this motor function is balanced. Fine. But what happened in the case of Parkinson disease, there is a degeneration of this dopaminergic neurons, and etiology is multifactorial. Remember, here in the case of the Parkinson disease, the etiology is multifactorial. First one is the cigarette smoke. Cigarette smoking, here it is very interesting. You know that cigarettes contain the nicotine, okay? Nicotine. So there are masses of research which supports that due to the nicotines, okay, dopamine have the here in the case of Parkinson's, they have the positive, you can say, the neuroprotective function. Here the cigarette smoking works as a neuroprotection. Fine. Just, and the explanation is simple. Nicotine, okay, stimulate the dopamine. Okay, you know, that's the reward system, okay, reward function. So nicotine stimulates the dopamine, and thereby there is a you can say secretion of dopamine. Got it? So that's the one hypothesis. Caffeine is the same, whereas the herbicide and pesticides is have the some chemicals which is called as the neurotoxin, which is called as the neurotoxic. It specifically target the substantia nigra neuron and make them die. Okay, so herbicides and pesticides is considered as a neurotoxics. Then there are certain genetics, okay, there are certain genetical roles like the parental inheritance, okay, which suggest that this Parkinson disease is also inherited, okay, but there is no any you can say established link. Fine. Then there are other theory which says that there is a mitochondria dysfunction, okay, or there is a accumulation of alpha synuclein protein in the neuron, alpha synuclein protein in the neurons. Okay, so basically the etiology is multifactorial. I hope you got the basic idea about the neuroanatomy and also the neuropathology of Parkinson's disease. Now once we over with these things, and we also discussed about the clinical picture, then clinical picture is what? Due to the degeneration of dopamine, person have the tremors, okay, person have the tremors, and person also have to very difficult to initiate a movement or show the expression, that is termed as the bradykinesis. Okay, person also have the rigidity due to the high secretion of acetylcholine. Are you getting the points? Okay, and person also have the moon face, that is called as the motor symptom. Now the non-motor symptoms is cognitive abnormality. Person also develop the dementia in the later stage. Person also have the depression, then the posture abnormality and the constipations. Got it? Now in the later stage, advanced stage of the Parkinson's disease, person is unable to maintain the postures and they fall easily. Okay, they fall easily. So fall assessment and fall management is one of the key point for the, you can say, Parkinson's patient. Got it? Now once we're over with the neuroanatomy, pathophysiology and clinical feature, let's discuss about the diagnosis.